And we're live from PDAC. We're joined with Mark Scott, President and CEO of Sassy Gold. My man, welcome.
Great to be here.
Yeah, and how's it been so far? Obviously, you've got a booth here for Sassy. How's the reception been? Are there a lot of investors here for this weekend as well?
That's good. I think PDAC 2023, we're kind of back to the normal level of attendance, 25,000 or so attendees, and lots of traffic by the booth, lots of great conversations. Always welcome a chance to get out and tell the Sassy story to investors directly.
Yeah, absolutely. I can imagine one part of that story is obviously the Westmore Discovery, the drill results that recently came out. Can you talk about those, your thoughts on them, and what are the steps moving forward there as well?
Sure. Well, we were very happy to be able to get the drill results out before arriving here to PDAC over the weekend. It was a bit of a challenge to get them out, but we did that, and we're happy with what we're seeing. We continue to see high-grade gold in the veins at Westmore, and we're vectoring in now on some areas where we know from the drilling we've done that the quartz veins are getting wider, getting thicker at depth, and a little further down the hillside that we haven't sort of just physically been able to attack with the drill bit just yet.
Yeah.
Those are the next steps for us to see those grades continue into some wider intersections in the veins. We know from the drilling we've done lower down on the hillside, down right to the Moore Glacier, that the veins are materialized down there and are bearing gold. So we look forward to the next round of drill testing and finding those high grade and wider intersections to go with some of the wide but lower grade and higher grade but thinner sections that we've seen so far.
Yeah, and we were talking about this earlier, how the news release had to state that you were 18 of 19 holes hitting mineralization. Can you explain why you believe it's actually 18 of 18, but there's a reason for that?
Yeah, it's a bit too bad. We were 18 of 18 holes, hit gold. The 19th hole, there were some operational issues with the hole, and we stuck the rods and had to pull them out and start that hole over again. But there were a few meters drilled there that had to be included in the total. So I guess it counts as a hole, even though it was quite a way short of the target when we pulled back and recollared it.
Yeah. And now, you've obviously 18 of 18, if we can call it that then, where you've got mineralization, you've got gold in there, but you're still looking for that feed. You're still looking for the source. What are the next steps at Westmore?
Well, to go down deep and figure out the source of it, I mean, there's some deeper drilling we would have to do for that. We don't know. We don't have the geophysics to tell us what exactly we're looking at further down there below the veins that outcrop at surface and are present, east to west across a greater than 400 meter strike length, and from top to bottom for some 470 vertical meters down the hillside. You're talking about much deeper drilling than that to possibly identify the source of that mineralization.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate going through that, and obviously up here we're seeing from your news release as well. But there's also, you tell yourself to be a year-round exploration story. There's the high rock uranium as well. Can you give us an update on past drilling that's happened there, but also what is to come as well?
Sure. We went up to the high rock for the first time last year after we signed the option agreement with Forum Energy Metals early in 2022. And we intended to run a program, small in scope, but to get the first $1 million worth of assessment expenditure in on that project with 6 to 8 holes. There were lots of issues with the conditions on the ground. Forum was acting as the operator of the project last year, and they just didn't get the drilling done that we were hoping for. We did spend the $1 million, but there was basically 1.5 holes that got drilled and not a material volume of core really that was recovered from the drilling that was done. So what we did then was have a good conversation with Forum. We renegotiated the option agreement to take that $1 million expenditure out of the back end, out of years 2, 3, and 4 of the staged option agreement, so that Sassy could recover that cost that was spent not accomplishing the amount of drilling we were looking for.
Yeah.
And we've taken over as the operators of the project now. So when we go in this year, and we've pushed the start of the program off by a few months this year, so we don't have to deal with those winter conditions. We'll do the drilling in the summer, and use a bit of helicopter time to help us do that rather than some ice roads. But we'll push that off to the summer of 2023. Get up there, do that program essentially that we wanted to do last year, and test the northern part of that conductor, which runs from the historic Key Lake mine down through our High Rock property. So good reason for optimism there. When we do the work this year, we will have exercised the second option on that property, giving us a 51% interest in the High Rock. So So now we're the operators of the program, and we will be the controlling majority owners of the project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and exciting to hear. And obviously, this is exploration. Exploration, you have times that are good. Exploration, you have times that are bad. The whole object then is learn from those times and be able to see how do you attack it in the future. And for those that don't know as well, this is a map of where your High Rock uranium project is. It's just below the Athabasca Basin. Can you just give a really quick, 30, 60-second overview of what it is you're looking to find here and why you believe this is a good place to be searching for uranium?
Sure. Well, if you look at the basin proper, I mean, that's where all of the big historic producers are, with Cameco and others, MacArthur River and Key Lake too, that produce 200 million pounds of uranium over the years. Yeah. The mill at Key Lake, which is just north of us, is still operating and acts as a processing facility for all of the satellite deposits that are around it, mostly in the eastern part of the basin, which has produced so much of the world's uranium production over the last several decades. Yeah. And so we're just outside of that area in looking for what are called basement deposits, basement targets, that we're looking to drill at the High Rock just south of the Key Lake mine, the historic mine, and the ongoing operations at the Key Lake mill.
Perfect. I appreciate you going over all that. Now, we've talked now about Westmore. We've talked about the High Rock uranium project. What other catalysts are now ahead of you and ahead for investors that we should be talking about right now?
Well, I mean, Sassy presents such an interesting value proposition. It's not a typical junior story. We have the two really high potential direct exploration projects, the Fourmore Gold-Silver project with its 6-kilometer long VMS corridor at Moore Creek, and the Westmore high-grade gold discovery in quartz veins, close to Galore, right next door to Galore Creek, of course, and then the High Rock uranium project that we've talked about. In addition to that, of course, we have equity stakes in 3 other juniors, Gander Gold, who have 2,263 square kilometers of claims in Newfoundland, that will be seeing their first ever drilling this year after 2 years of soil sampling and geophysical surveys over the last 2 seasons. Yeah. Similar story with Galloper Gold. Sassy owns 8 million shares in Galloper, 35.3 million shares in Gander. Galloper has been doing the work as a private company over the last 2 seasons in Newfoundland and will probably see first ever drilling this year along with its listing in a few months' time later on into 2023. And then Max Power Mining Corp is a lithium junior. Sassy owns 5 million shares and 1 million warrants in Max. They've already put out some acquisition news in Quebec, and we know there's other great things ahead for them. So Sassy's share count is 75 million. Pretty good number considering the 4 years we've been around and the volume of work we've done, the number of significant corporate development transactions we've done. We've done an effective job of managing dilution and kept the share count to 75 million. And there's no reason why we should have to blow that number out, in the future with the multi-year sources of non-dilutive financing that we've set ourselves up with these other equity positions. So it's not the typical story. It's a much better one.
Yeah. And I appreciate that, and it gives you a lot of different at-bats, a lot of different ways of being able to provide value to your shareholders. And speaking about value to shareholders, you're currently sitting around a $10 million market cap after everything investors just heard there. Can you explain what the value proposition is moving forward now for Sassy Gold?
Yeah, so it's much the same as I was just saying. We have those 2 really interesting direct exploration projects, the Fourmore and the High Rock, and then we have the 3 equity positions in those other juniors that gives us, just between Gander and Galloper, some 4,000 square kilometers of claims in the central Newfoundland gold belt, properties that are prospective for gold and copper and possibly some other things along the way. And then Max Power, of course, gives us an entry into the lithium market, and everybody loves lithium at the moment. So, between Sassy's direct exploration opportunities in gold, silver, base metals, and uranium, and those equity stakes in gold, copper, and lithium, it's an unmatched story with a share count of 75 million and the market cap where it is right now. This is a great time to be jumping in for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Mark, for taking some time away from the booth at PDAC and just being able to have this conversation, talking about all the different things that your company has done and is about to do. Thank you so much, Mark.
Always my pleasure.